You're listening to Ireland's Aviation Podcast.
Welcome to the news episode of Squawk 7000. On this week's podcast, Aer Lingus, Ryanair and Loganair announced new routes. The government unveiled the tender process for the Dublin to Donegal PSO route, and I visited the Birr Breakfast fly-in at the weekend and spoke with the GOC of the Irish Air Corps Brigadier General Rory O'Connor.
The Shannon Group has welcomed the return of the Aer Lingus service between Heathrow and Shannon Airport. From Monday the 13th of September, the service will operate 7 days a week for 10 weeks using an Airbus A321LR on all services except Mondays when an A320 is used. The flight will operate while Cork Airport is closed for runway upgrade works.
Well, as I mentioned, I was at the Birr Breakfast fly-in on Sunday. One of the visitors there was the GOC of the Irish Air Corps Brigadier General Rory O'Connor, where he told me of plans for next year on the 100th anniversary of the Irish Air Corps.
Where we are in the Air Corps, 2022 is obviously a big year for us and the state. It's our centenary, and part of the piece that I'm trying to look for is to have a bit of an outreach programme, I suppose. A lot of the general aviation that's so prevalent in Ireland, it's quite a small community, I suppose, but it has a huge reach. With the Air Corps 100 years, I suppose we'd look at Ballonal as being sort of one of the centres of aviation in Ireland, and part of my programme, I suppose, is to reach out to those far-flung areas of the country where there's a lot of general aviation happening, I suppose, and we've had a huge amount of people over the years who've come through into Ballonal through our various programmes, who have started off and got their first sight of aircraft in places like Birr and other small airfields around the country.
Is the recruitment going on?
Yeah, there's always a recruitment on an annual basis. Our two main ones are for our cadet programme and then our apprentice intake. We've finished for this year. We're just coming to the end, and towards the end of this month we'll have an apprentice class coming into Ballonal, as well as a cadet class. We did open a direct entry scheme as well for qualified technicians to come in, and we're getting a few people in on that as well. The way the whole COVID has affected aviation, certainly we've had a good uptake, and we look forward to the future in terms of trying to continue building up our numbers.
What was your own start in aviation?
I started off as an apprentice in the Air Corps back in 1982, and I'd always wanted to fly, I suppose, and I wanted to be in the Air Corps. I saw it as, rather than the commercial side, I wanted to be a military pilot. So I completed my apprenticeship in Ballonal while I was continuing to try to get a cadetship. So on my fifth go anyway, I was successful and got a cadetship, and then that sort of put me on a different track then in terms of the flying then throughout the Air Corps.
What kind of airplanes would it be in your logbook now if we went looking?
All fixed wing, I suppose, for a start. In the early days, it was Marchetti was a wings course, Fuga Magister as well, so we would have done then our wings course. Flew the Cessna 172, and then I went back and became an instructor on both the Marchetti and the Fuga. Spent a couple of years there, and then I flew the King Air for 6 months, and then went on to the Gulfstream 4. That would have been the majority of my flying, about 16 years in total flying the Gulfstream 4. I was lucky to be in charge of the PC9 project, bringing that into service in the Air Corps, so I was OC of the Flying Training School from over about the first 2 years of that aircraft coming into service, and that was certainly significant in terms of the road it was setting on for developing our pilots into the future, and it gave us an opportunity to completely revamp and change our flying programme.
Another airplane, of course, that has done great service is the CASA, soon to be replaced.
Yes, the CN235, everyone just calls it the CASA because that was the original company that made them. They came in 94, so we're on 27 years now. A couple of years ago we entered into a programme to look at replacing them, the Maritime Patrol Aircraft Replacement Programme. So the Airbus Military C295, the larger version of the 235 was successful in that. So the first aircraft is on the assembly line now in Seville, and it's due to be delivered to us in March of 2023. So about this time next year we'll start beginning to train our crews on that as well.
So finally, as we're coming into, say, the 100th anniversary next year, and being the boss, what's on your agenda?
Well, first of all, it's significant for the state, so there's a level of state ceremony you have to get involved in. From the aviation point of view, Ireland has a unique position, I think, both geographical and historical in terms of aviation, and Ballonal more so from that. We're looking to set about a programme that commemorates aviation, not only military aviation, that allows people, I suppose, to get involved in what we do, and that'll be a reach out to all the likes of the flying clubs to have some level of engagement. We're not sure, I suppose, as regards to anything else in terms of bits of flying and that as well. It's also 25 years since our Silver Swallows flew in the Royal International Air Tattoo over in the UK and won the trophy over there. So I'd be hopeful that we can have some more reach out to air shows. Obviously with COVID having gone at that stage, hopefully the air show season will get back up and running, so I'd like to have some of our aircraft out to them, but we just have to wait and see.
Rory O'Connor, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you very much, Michael.
The GOC of the Irish Air Corps Brigadier General Rory O'Connor there, and he spoke with Michael at the Birr fly-in on Sunday. The government has launched the tender document for the Dublin to Donegal public service obligation route. The new contract will be for 3 years starting early next year and will include an option for a 1-year extension pending a review during the final year of operation. The current operators of the route, Swedish airline Amapola, only started flying on the route on the 26th of July on a short-term basis following the collapse of Stobart Air in June. The tender was issued on the government website on Friday and the closing date for application is 5 p.m. on the 29th of October. Emerald Airlines, the new franchise operator for Aer Lingus regional routes from Ireland to the UK, are likely to be the favourite to win the contract. This week they received their first aircraft, the ATR 72-600 Echo India Golf Papa Papa. It arrived from Exeter last Tuesday and conducted a proving flight to Cork on Friday. It's currently painted all white but will receive Aer Lingus branding before entry into service.
And Ryanair has started 2 new services from Ireland West Airport to Edinburgh and Manchester. The new routes will be operated year-round on a twice-weekly basis initially. Ryanair now has a total of 13 destinations across the UK and Europe to and from the airport. This week will see the return of Ryanair's seasonal service to Milan and East Midlands Airport. Managing Director at Ireland West Airport Joe Gilmore said they were pleased to have seen a very strong recovery in passenger numbers for August. The trends are looking positive for a busy winter season.
And last Sunday, Cork Airport welcomed 3,483 passengers, the highest total so far for 2021, and the highest daily total since the 15th of March 2020. The strong rebound in passengers comes as the airport is about to close for 10 weeks, commencing on the 13th of September. Significant restrictions to runway 07 and 25 are also anticipated. The declared distances available on runway 0725 will be reduced to facilitate the proposed construction works and restricted to limited general aviation operations, search and rescue, medevac, HEMS and transplant flights with prior notice. The runway will reopen to commercial traffic on the 22nd of November at 0200 hours. This is to facilitate the rehabilitation works to runway 1634.
Well, over 40 aircraft attended the St Vincent de Paul Breakfast fly-in at Birr on Sunday with a great collection of aircraft, including many first-time visitors. Aircraft flew in from all over Ireland despite the challenging weather conditions. Well, the event was hosted by the Ormond Flying Club and is planned to be a regular autumn event. Dave Corboy gave me an update.
Oh, we're delighted, Michael. Looking out this morning, the weather wasn't so good and a few anxious moments. Everyone really put in a massive effort to come up and turn up, and today we're delighted with the turnout.
I must say there's a great deal of support from volunteers as well and other supporters.
Yeah, from everybody here in the club itself. St Vincent de Paul and Birr helped us out, and all our sponsors obviously makes today like this much easier to organise, so it's brilliant.
No, I know that Birr likes to kind of top off the season. Can promise even bigger and better next year.
Yeah, I think this is probably a new format for us, so we're definitely going to stay and run with this format again, get some much needed funds into St Vincent de Paul and Birr. Hopefully looking forward to next year again.
Those attending contributed €2,000 on the day for St Vincent de Paul, which is an amazing amount given the numbers there.
International Air Ambulance Week gets underway this week and it will be officially marked in Ireland for the first time. Summer 2021 was the busiest year yet for the Irish Community Air Ambulance, with the number of taskings up by nearly 10%. We'll be back in a moment with more aviation news.
Loganair has launched a revised schedule for the coming months and into 2022, with 2 new routes included for Dublin. The airline has already announced that it will start a new service from Aberdeen to Dublin from the 5th of September, operating 4 times per week. An Embraer EMB 145 will fly, fitted with 49 passenger seats. This route will increase to a frequency of 9 per week from summer 2022, with a daily service and additional flights on Monday and Friday. The other new route announced is Teesside to Dublin, which will start on the 27th of May with a 4 times per week frequency. By next summer, the airline plans to be flying over 1,300 flights per week, with 58,000 weekly seats available across 73 domestic and international routes. There's a boost for the City of Derry Airport, where the London Stansted service will increase from 15 to 17 flights per week in the peak season, and a larger ATR 72 aircraft will be deployed on the Liverpool City of Derry Airport route to provide more seats every day after a strong first summer on the route this year.
And finally this week, I have to say congratulations to Michael, who successfully passed his flight test on Friday to renew his PPL with Funfly Aerosports on the ICP Savannah at Clonbelogue. Look forward to seeing you at lots of airfields around the country in future.
Thanks, Mark. You'll find these stories and more on flyinginireland.com, and a reminder that you can listen to our long final edition, which you'll find wherever you get your podcasts, on our site squawk7000.ie. Thanks for listening.